We're the voices of experiencers, and we are the experiencers of extraterrestrials. Just what's out there in the abyss, in the darkness of the unknown. It's time for disclosure and it's time for truth, because what lies in the darkness brings powerful transformation. We're the bridge between two different worlds, with one foot in this reality and one in the next. The shift is here, along with profound integration. Just who are extraterrestrials and what are their plans? It's time to find out with the Voices of Contact.
We are the voices of experiencers because we are the experiencers. It's time for disclosure and it's time for truth, because truth brings powerful transformation, and we are the voices of change. We are about evolution on an expansive level, living life without fear and becoming the bridge between two different realities. Profound evolution is here. Profound integration is here. This is the Voices of Contact. Hi everyone, I'm Mary. I'm a channeler and psychic medium, and I'm also a hypnosis regressionist for ET experiencers, and I work with MUFON doing regression work. I also work with PTSD experiencers, paranormal experiencers, and victims of crime to assist them in recall. I'm really looking forward to another amazing show with our panel tonight. And I just want to say thanks to you guys that the work you're doing here with me is so impactful. It's life-changing, and I thank you for being here with me. It means more than you realize to me, as well as to others. So, allow me to introduce some of my most favorite people. First, we have Deb and RJ DeRusse. They're authors, paranormal UFO researchers, and they're experiencers themselves. They're also founders of the Michigan UFO Contact that happens every year in Houghton Lake, Michigan at the end of September. They're also owners and managers of Mystical Awakenings Radio, Mystical Awakenings Vodcast on YouTube, and of the Mystical Awakenings Metaphysical Store in Houghton Lake, Michigan. Next, we have Deborah Jordan Cobble, and she was the central figure in Bud Hopkins' international bestseller, Intruders, The Incredible Visitations at Copley Woods, which was made into a CBS miniseries in 1992. She is co-author of the book Abducted, The Story of the Intruders Continues, and author of Extraordinary Contact, Life Beyond Intruders. She's a former Indiana MUFON investigator and co-founder of her own paranormal group, Paranormal Underground, and hosted the Midwest Paratalk podcast with co-founder Greg Cable. And then we have Dana Stryker. She is a born psychic medium and has been reading professionally since the age of 15. And while she excels in her psychic and mediumship ability, Dana is known for her exceptional skills in remote readings. She's also a known and very well-established medical intuitive. In addition to reading professionally worldwide, Dana has worked nationwide on numerous missing persons cases. With the amazing panel that we have tonight, I know that anything is possible, and that we are going to get deep down into discovery and find answers to what's really going on out there. This show is all about transmutating the light from the dark to replace fear with knowledge. Through my regression work, I have come across amazing cases with amazing clients, and it's my passion to work with them to help them have a better understanding of the contact that they've had, whether they were taken, have had contact in the physical realm, or through a dream state. I'm grateful that my clients have agreed to allow me to use their regressions on the Voices of Contact. This is the place to be because the panel breaks down the experiences, providing a powerful feedback. I love it because all the listeners get to connect and learn. The person I regress walks away even more immersed in their experience with a new perspective on their contact. So literally, it's a win-win, right? This is the Voices of Contact.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hello. Hey. Good to see you again.
Happy.
Michael, it's good to have you back.
Good to be back. Yeah, wonderful. It's like you never left.
Yeah. Is everybody ready for a fabulous show tonight?
Yeah.
Yes. I've been excited about this one.
Let's get to it.
Waiting on pins and needles. Well, this one is it's a continuation of last week's. But with this episode, we're going to tap in to the subconscious of the guy that I regressed. So, to go back a little bit, he was finding his purpose on the craft and realized that he was connecting with the reptilian. And then the reptilian brought him back and said, whenever, you want to, know that I'm there, just think about me, think about nature and know that I'm with you. So we're moving forward. And in this first clip, my biggest question was, what was the whole purpose of him having this experience? What was the whole purpose of being a little boy laying out in the grass and being pulled onto a craft and being shown all the different things that he was shown from the planets, of people being pulled off the planets and realizing what his purpose is and trying to help Earth? So that was my first question. So this is the first clip. What was the purpose of showing him this experience?
There was a few purposes to this whole experience. One was to notify that this was the very first time taken. And second was to remind him why these experiences are happening.
How many times was he taken as a child?
As a child, there was 3 occasions. But as the age progressed, it started to become more seldom. There's been a lot of occasions that he wasn't taken, but just met with someone to help him during the time that was needed.
Is he a starseed?
He's more than just the starseed. Some starseeds come down for a mission to help the world thrive. Whether it's to do some form of light work. But for Mark, it's more complex than that. He came here to make a difference, not just in this reality, but other realities. He's working on the same mission, but in different lives. All of the lives that he's living and doing the work, it all intertwines into this web. And everything that I do in this life will change things in another life.
So is it like parallel universes?
No. Picture a web that is branched upon 3 trees. Think of it almost in a 3-dimensional way. The web is touching 3 trees. The 3 trees are different beings. You are connected to all 3, but all 3 trees will only know that they are connected to each other until they get into the root system. And then they will know that they are all 3 connected. The lives that we live is the same way. The spider web that connects all of the lives that we are living, we are able to connect to one another once we look inside and root ourselves where we can see. where we can feel. Once we are connected, we can make a change within the root system of the trees if we were the tree. But the spider web will always exist unless something takes it away. But in this terminology, the spider web will always stay.
I don't know what the hell he just said,
Well,
but I mean, that sounded wow. But I get it in a way. No, I mean, I was trying to find. I mean, we went from living parallel lives to not living. No, but anyway, I get it. We're all connected.
yeah.
But I was trying to follow that. Am I by myself here, or did you get?
No, you're not by yourself.
Well, it's
I got
the
some of it, but then I kind
we're
of
connected to the cosmic web, you know. It's
But
all
yeah, but that's an easier way to say it. I
Yeah.
tried to. It confused me.
because if something lands in the web, we all feel it. You know.
Well, there were a lot of images. I mean, there's
Yeah.
to be rooted, and then because he started out, well, what kind of? She said, "Is this a parallel life?" He said, "No." Anyway, I get it. We're all connected. But I was like, "What?" Yeah.
And as he's talking, all I could think is, I cannot wait to hear what Michael has to say about this.
I had no idea. I was trying to follow it. Luckily, I kind of already know that we're connected because that imagery, I was like, wow. And it's probably me. I mean,
Well, it
maybe.
was a very different way to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. I thought he was going to get into, living these lives at the same time.
Mm.
And I think he was saying that. And then that they're all connected at the roots. And then there's a spider web. And anyway, I get it. I think.
Yeah, and I thought
My mind could not take all that. No, it just couldn't. I
I'm not
was-
confused.
But like you said, it's an interconnected web of life, and we're all in it. So I got it.
Well, and because we are that light energy, because we are energy, we are all of those lives are all connected, is what I took from that. We're all connected to one another, but we're also all connected to the parallel lives or the different lives that we're living.
He's
Yeah.
also-
Only he said it wasn't about parallel lives because Mary said it. He said no, and that's
Well, he
when
said not really.
that's when my
but-
mind kind of short circuited. But it's okay. It's probably wisdom above my little mind. But I get it that we're connected and we're all rooted. I guess that was the gist of it.
Yeah, and he said he wasn't a starseed on a mission.
Yeah, he
He
said
said
he
it
was
was more than a star seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people we've heard regress that they were here on a mission. So you hear a lot of people say that, but he was just here to experience it. I think just to find out what it's like to be here.
It sounded to me like he was kind of saying he was here to connect that spider web. Yeah.
But you know what? And this is just me. And
I don't know how to
maybe
put it in words.
it was a relate. I don't really need. That's just me. I mean, I'm glad we're doing it. But I think his mission is his mission.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to be such a public thing. It doesn't matter if I get his mission.
Right.
It matters if I get mine.
Right.
Because it's like, his mission is, probably between him and, his guardians or his angels or, his friends so I mean, I don't want to make a value judgment. I need to get my mission, but and he knows his mission like we all do. I mean, we share it, but I don't know if it matters whether I get what his mission is because it's uniquely his.
Dana, you okay?
I'm fine. I'm just taking it all in.
Well, it looks like you were looking at something that was disturbing.
It's all good.
Okay. Just wanna make sure- I want to make sure you're okay.
No, I'm fine. I'm just making
Okay.
the scowl because I'm trying to comprehend spider webs and such. Okay, we're good.
Mhm.
Oh, I let that go about 5 minutes ago, Dad.
No, but I'm still,
My head
still
would have
in
just
there with
splattered,
my
it would've
cobweb.
splattered on the console.
Yes. No, I was concentrating on the conversation, trying to avoid the
The
other.
ball of light.
All good.
It wasn't like you saw a teletape coming across somewhere or something, you know.
Okay.
The
So
ball of light, Dana.
for this next one, I asked if he has the tendency to shift timelines.
Oh my God.
That's kind of scary.
That's where the spider webs.
That's intense.
Does he shift timelines?
The spirit in everybody is always shifting timelines. The shift that you feel is not necessarily a timeline. It's the connection, the feel of the energy that is causing the timeline to shift. Think of it like a wire connected to the telephone poles. The wire has energy that's going through it. The wire is just a wire. Rubber, cables, it's all just the physical holding it intact, just like the body. But the energy that goes through it, we may not physically see it, but it's there. When we are experiencing a timeline change, it's the energy that we feel within it. Doesn't necessarily mean that we're shifting or changing. It's the feeling of the energy that's going to cause the shift and change.
Do we shift more if we have a higher vibration?
Everything shifts depending on the vibration.
Yeah, so, in other words, he's saying that,
Is that a yes or no?
well, I don't know, but he's just saying that our spirit picks up different frequencies, so it feels like we're in a different time zone or a different timeline or a different reality or whatever. So it's not really a time shift. It's just that we're experiencing different things by tuning into different stations, you know? Yeah.
I think that might have been a yes. I'm totally.
I feel it was a yes.
Yeah.
Well, at the very end, he says, yeah, the vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel like it's more like, when you meditate and then you kind of feel yourself shift, you feel yourself shift to like a different dimension. And it's not necessarily a complete timeline.
When you're meditating, Dana, this is this is what's going to happen to you, Dana.
Then
What's
you look
already happened.
around and, everything feels the same or seems the same, but it feels differently and looks just a little bit different.
Yeah.
For me, that's kind of my takeaway from it. So it's really the timeline's more of the vibration that you're connecting to at the moment and how things feel around you.
Yeah.
And you can feel it when it shifts like that, just like, as psychic mediums, when there's different energy around you, you feel that. There's a shift in the vibration. So it's kind of a shift in the timeline, because if you're connecting with spirit, you're shifting to their timeline. That's my take on it. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
This example he gave, I could really, with the wire and that made a lot of sense to me. Just trying to be visual, you know what I mean?
He went from spider webs to wires, by the way.
I know.
And it's times like this that I embrace my neurodivergent brain, because it makes sense to me.
mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense at all.
And it's times like this where I use what's left of my brain. and I'm hoping that makes sense to you all.
I had to write that down. Neurodivergent brain. Okay.
Yeah. Never use a 50-cent word when a 25-cent word will do. But yeah, I hear you, Deb.
Yeah. And our
Well,
brains are
but
about the
it's
same
easy.
age.
But it's easy, you know, if you can, I mean, pictures. I mean, some people can hear the word, but it's if your images work. That was a beautiful image, I think, of the telephone poles and the wires. Yeah.
Yeah, I was giggling because I'm seeing, as he's talking, I'm seeing the energy running through this wire
Right.
and continuing to move along. And I looked down, and RJ is literally, he drew two like telephone poles, or the poles with the wire going through it. So he could see it as well.
You guys don't
Yeah.
know this, but during our shows, I just kind of doodle on.
Oh wow!
Here, I thought you were
Nonstop.
taking all these highfalutin notes over there about.
These copious notes.
His notes are in
He's
his
doodling
his
and
doodles.
drawing extraterrestrial alphabets.
I am.
There you go.
Yeah, nobody could figure it out. Can I show them
Oh my
closer?
gosh!
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Is that a piece of pizza? What is it?
Pyramids. We were talking about pyramids.
Yeah.
I was doing
Pyramids.
Yeah.
Pyramids, pizza,
Yeah. So
whatever. Giza pizza.
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, that's what I do.
One person's pyramid is another person's slice of pizza. It's
There
all,
you go.
There you go.
all good. Yeah.
Depends on how hungry you are.
I do have a couple spaceships in here,
Oh, yeah.
a couple aliens.
All right. So
You did that.
for this next one, I was curious because star seeds. You hear so much about how we're created, DNA, and how we're sort of manufactured and placed here. So I wanted to try to see if I could get the answer of how he was created. So that was the next question that I asked. Was created for planet Earth?
He was created in the sense that a baby was born, but with more to it. He was created to be a specific being here, and just like all of his other lives, that he is doing the same job, but in different forms, in different ways. The timelines doesn't necessarily mean anything in this sense. It's just the life that he's living in this one. He's got a job to do, as all of the other ones have a job. But at the end, it all comes together like the web. Everybody has this. You have it. You go through the same thing. We are all working together in a way here in this life, just like how you and all of your other lives are working together in a different way. At the end, you'll notice that all of it will intertwine almost like a tapestry, like thread into the big picture, into the big tapestry. Everything that we're doing, depending on each life, will determine the picture that you get. You just go with the flow and the feeling that you get with your work.
How was he created?
We helped with creation, but we didn't create him. We allowed nature to take its course in the creation as what a normal mother would go through, but we had to help it happen. And we needed to help him through his life once he was born.
And who are you?
You can call me Zeke, because that's what he calls me. But my name is not in your English language perspective.
Zeke, are you the one
that showed yourself as a panther?
Yes.
So we have ID'd the panther. See the panther.
And the reptilian and the platypus.
True. The platypus. Let's say
The
platypus.
I guess he's not a platypus. But
Platform reptilian.
sorry.
Yeah.
Close
Yeah.
enough. Interesting.
It's all making sense now.
So I got to get back to this birthing thing. We let it go through the natural process, but we had a hand in it. Is what they're saying. What?
They had to make it happen.
So
So-
did they?
To me, it sounds like sort of like the other regressions we've listened to, where they were with the child, and if they were sick, came and got them, monitored them, made sure they could be able to survive, like the gentleman who had asthma, and then another woman who was sick, and they took her, and they wanted to monitor her, make sure for other species that she would be able to continue to withstand Earth's atmosphere. So I almost feel like it's that kind of, I don't want to say interference, but watching over and helping when they needed to help.
And he said he would do that.
Yep.
That we would watch over you, and
Mhm.
we'll always be with you. I'll always be with you. Yeah.
But I'm getting this feeling that they made the conception happen at a certain time or something.
That's almost my take on it.
Yeah.
And with other regression works too, that's what we've heard is, they came from a mother. So, but how did they get to the mother? I guess
It's like wait
Not
for
the
it, wait for
mothership.
it. Okay, jump in.
Me?
No, I'm saying that they always say like
Yeah.
wait for it, and then okay, you go down there, go there, you're in there.
Right.
so. Is that sort of like what's that old movie? Look Who's Talking. Where in the beginning she gets pregnant, and all of a sudden like there's like glows and sparks, and then a baby forms.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like they had a little something to do with that. The fact that it had to be a certain time, certain way. We're going to make this happen for you. It's going to be all natural, but this is the point in time that you have to enter your consciousness and your soul into this conception, your energy.
I mean, isn't that how it is for all star seeds or most star seeds?
Or just everybody common, yeah. But that makes me wonder who was paying attention when I was
Yeah.
being conceived.
We're going to do a whole show on that.
That's-
We sure are.
We have to do a show on that. We can't. That's too much to cover in the time allotted.
Yeah.
We'll do that on the panel in September.
yeah.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to host that.
Well, I'm scared now.
We'll have the-
Oh,
Yeah. But it does make you wonder, trying to be serious here.
Yeah.
About the DNA. Because it's
Yeah.
come up so many times that, I mean, so many of us have a lot of unknown DNA.
Mine is way up there for unknown. I mean,
Of course it is.
but
That's why we're great friends.
Well, I have another three.
Dana, I think Dana was going to ask a question. Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
no, I'm just.
Mhm.
But I mean, how much of a percentage is high though for unknown DNA?
Right.
And how can they not know DNA?
Right.
Mm.
But that's
Mine's like
what I'm saying.
6.5% unknown.
Yeah. Oh,
It's pretty high,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I know I'm weird and stuff, but I've tried to figure that out. But I think all of you have unknown, don't you? That came
Mhm.
up.
I know I do.
That's what they tell us.
Yeah.
But my
if
blood
it,
type is like a normal. I don't have the RH factor stuff.
yeah, I don't know if I do or not. I don't think so.
Anybody here have that RH factor?
No, I don't. I don't.
Mary,
I don't know. Actually, I've never done any of that. I'm gonna have to sometime.
I
Uh-huh.
think you should.
I'm gonna have to.
I knew we had one alien in the group here.
But it does all get really intriguing when you start thinking about it. You know, if it happens naturally and they're not a part of that, what's with the DNA? How can some be a part of them? And I mean, in previous regressions with this person, I guess the same regression, but a few shows back, I thought he said that he was a part, he had their DNA, a part of them. So how does it all work? Are
Yeah.
they present during
Either that, or maybe they picked two parents that already had the DNA and made sure they got together.
oh
Well, look at Mary. You know, they said the angels came down and made sure that, you know, they made that happen. You know,
Not this Mary.
I mean, not this
He's
Mary.
expected to assimilate my
Wow. Mary, what's been going on?
Mother Mary.
holy.
Oh, Mama Mary.
See?
Mother Mary.
You know,
Listen.
Is something going on?
not
The
Mother Mary, but
Milwaukee
Mother Mary.
miracle.
Yeah. But you know,
Wow.
they you know, she apparently was pregnant without you know, her husband.
Immaculate conception.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know,
but we also know
because you
of,
talk about that, Michael.
of
I
women
do.
who have
And it is a family show.
who
It's a
have
family show.
I better shut up.
gotten pregnant and had the baby taken, or you know, had the baby and it,
Well, there's data to support that, Deb.
right.
Yeah.
Deb
So-
Cobble says it happened to her. So.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot
And it
of
can't be
documented-
explained. And, you know, I mean, we probably could explain it. You know, the thing is, you know, people say they have the RH and it's otherworldly and whatever, but at some point, I mean, at one point, you know, people say we're all coming from this one source.
Mhm.
The trick is that if you really, had that DNA, the men in black, the government will be knocking on your door tomorrow, wanting to talk to you about some things.
Well, they show up at UFO contact.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I'm being facetious, but if that was, you know, if everybody could really prove that, and I'm not saying it's not true, please don't get me wrong, but if it was that much of a movement, the government would be at your door tomorrow, wanting to ask you a few questions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that R factor, whatever it is. Now, there's two kinds. One, you can give blood to anybody, or if you're the other one, you can take blood from anybody.
Right.
So think about if there was only a few people starting out, you'd want everybody to have the same blood. But as I think more genetics introduced,
Yeah.
you
But
get
I
different
mean, they have all of our blood types. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we are living in surveillance, and I mean, let's not
Yeah.
forget that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not saying that it's not true. You know, genetically, yeah, we're all part of stardust and what have you. But I mean, if it was that obvious that you really had some type of genome or something that was not found on this earth, you would need probably a lawyer, and you would probably have a knock on your door.
Yes,
And
you
you
would.
probably-
I mean, yeah,
Sure.
these people are playing hardball. You're not just going to walk around at conferences and going to tell people, you know, people will be looking at you or for you.
Mhm.
Yeah, this Richard
Yeah.
Doty says they have methods of finding out if you are. If they have.
Well,
tests.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have
Right,
ways.
but
We have ways of making you talk. We have ways.
That's right. Well, yeah, and we know what you are.
But aren't there people out there that don't have a clue
Yeah.
of what they are, and it's just
Right.
never,
But they're not going around talking about it because they don't even know.
they don't even know.
But there are
So
people
my
who will
thinking
say,
is
you know,
The government doesn't need to knock on their door and say, "Hey, you're part alien."
No, they don't. But I mean,
They
most
just keep an
people
eye on you.
will just say, you know, in the UFO community, people want to be, this is what I have. This is proving my connections to all of this. And I'm saying that if people took that seriously, you would be under surveillance. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
saying anything other than that.
And I
If
think
I had that, I
Yeah.
wouldn't tell anybody myself.
no. But
I
they
mean,
have
I'm
ways
not
to know.
lying now. I
Yeah.
don't have it. But if I had that, because there may come a time, and I'm not saying it will, but if the government really wanted to be nasty, they could have all of us quarantined. You have been in contact with. We don't know what germs you have. We don't know what bacteria. I mean, if they really wanted to be,
Yeah, they could. Yeah.
So, and I hope it never would get to that. But I mean, if you're coming out as an experiencer and what have you, it depends on what administration it was or whatever. They could easily say, "Hey,
You did what?
you have you've been in contact with some other off-world." That concerns us
Come with us.
because we don't know what kind of bacteria. We don't know what you've been exposed to. We're trying to help you. And that's just a way to keep people in check. If I had some type, I probably wouldn't say it.
We've all
Well.
seen E.T. Remember what happened in E.T.? The tents got put up. The guys in the suits came in.
Yeah, people don't want to be probed and prodded and
Right.
and all of that. So, it's you on the level that we're talking, it's entertaining, it's speculative, but if it was really suspect, you probably would want to keep that a little quiet.
Trust me. They would want to know who you are and keep an eye on you for sure.
Yeah. And they could one day they could want that now.
Yeah.
Michael, you've got these beings in here, and you say this, that, and the other. Tell us about that. We'll wait. Get your coat.
Here, take this pill first.
Yeah. Another pill?
Lay down.
Little
Close
big
your
man?
eyes.
I want to
He's
see
gonna
him again.
inject you right
I
now.
want to see little big man again. No, but my point being, yeah.
Okay. For this next clip, I asked the question of how extraterrestrials communicate with the human race.
How do you and other extraterrestrials communicate with people on Earth?
The same as you communicate with a phone. On the other side of that line, there's another being. You're not the phone, just as much as you're not what represents the phone call. You're just the other being on the other side communicating. So we have a connection to one another, and we just have the connection to speak through the other side. We use the vessels of the physical in a way to speak through. Or if they want, they can speak through mind instead. We can be anywhere we want to be. We can connect at any given time if it's necessary or needed.
Like it.
Sort of just like mediums, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Same principle. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
So basically, they're saying it's mostly telepathic.
Mm-hmm.
There's that connection, that mental, spiritual connection.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably able to dial into a certain frequency where you're at, and pick it up in the what do you call that?
Yeah.
The quantum field. And,
But guys, I mean, that question's already been answered, right?
Yeah.
Even in text, through
Yeah.
dreams, through telepathy, through
Yeah.
coming in ships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we already know the ways they can communicate with you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And, as well as communicate, you have to wonder, and we know, as mediums, we know that we just open up the soul mind and this information comes in, and that's not our brain thinking of it, but it's coming in. We just get those answers. We get what we need for our clients, and that's kind of the same thing. But then I think I turn into Dana and I go, but if
God
they can
help you.
tap if they can tap into my mind,
Mhm.
they can control it.
That's where you lose me. You all know that about me, but that's where you lose me. There's some piece that's just not quite washing with me.
Mhm.
I get all of the vibrational stuff. I get the peace, love business. I get it all, except for that.
So Dana, I'm confused. When you say that's where we lose you or they lose you, are you saying that you don't believe that they control your mind, or you
Oh no, I
or
do.
that
I think
okay,
that they do, and that's where
Yeah.
I shift into that defensive mode, because
Got it.
I need you to, like I said earlier
Mhm.
or last week, I was talking about that with, don't be what you're not. Tell
Yeah.
me what you're doing. Tell me what you want. You don't need to
Yes.
mind control me to relax me to get me to go up wherever you're taking me. And I almost feel some of these things that I've heard people talk about, or they're reporting that I felt very calm and they told me I was going to be okay. And
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
that's great that you felt that way, but would you have felt that way? Because their eyes are very hypnotic, as you guys know. The grays, anyway. There's
Yeah.
that hypnotic look. Well, there's a reason why we're attaching hypnotic maybe to what we're seeing there, because you are being hypnotized
Yes.
to maybe being a way that's calmer for them to handle while
Yes.
they take you to do whatever. And that's what I mean with that's where you lose me,
Mhm.
Got
because
it.
I cannot have a choice but to go with you, but don't
Yeah.
make me think this is something it's not either.
No,
I want
but yeah,
more
I'm clear with you now. Yeah, I just want to make
Buy
sure I
me
was clear.
dinner, buy me a drink, tell me
Kiss
what
me
we're
first,
doing.
man. Don't
Talk
be
nice to
me
me.
up there.
That's right. That's right.
That's where I get shifty with it. And I don't
Yeah.
think it's every single account. I don't think it's certain, I don't know if you call them breeds or certain races, I guess is the best word to put it. I don't think some of them do that, but some of them do. And
Yeah.
so that makes me think it's like people. There's good, there's bad, there's
But that's
it's
true.
little.
What you're saying, it is
Yeah.
like people.
Mhm.
It is
Yeah.
like people.
And
It is
so
like people.
if I'm going to feel all calm, I know this Dana that you're talking to here, as I am here, would not like seeing a mantis show up at the foot of my bed.
Hmm.
So
Understood.
I know how I would react in the fact that Deb says, well, they make me feel so calm and I miss them when they're gone. I'm thinking, oh, hell no. I don't want to see that. I'm
But that-
sorry. And I know it's a thing. It's my human mind distorting that and probably making it scarier than what they are. But
Right.
again, don't mind control me either. That's shifty to me.
Mhm.
And that's my
But I think
believe
there's
a lot of things.
different
Knock
ones
it
in
off,
every
RJ.
species.
No, I'm feeling you.
Yeah, every
I am.
species is going to have some good, some bad.
Something, and again,
I
Mary,
am
your
blessed.
experiences, you have mantis, correct? Is that what your experience was, Deb? Was it mantis?
Not totally, but yes, I have had experiences with mantis that have been,
And so is Michael.
in the very
Yeah.
beginning when I first saw them. Oh hell no! I was freaked out. I told him, "What is this isn't right."
Which makes me think, have I seen them? Is that why I'm so like?
Yeah,
And
I've seen him too.
Yeah, and it
I've
could
seen
be.
him,
But
I don't know.
after that,
Yeah.
And Mary, you're Grays, right?
My first experience was Grays and then reptilian.
Okay.
So see, there's
Just
good and
second.
bad and everything. But like you, Dana, and I think a lot of, I don't know if it's more women than men, but we get that violation trigger. So when it comes to mind control or tapping in, and we know we have that connection, we know they can, we can communicate telepathically, but at the same time, what all is going on there that we don't have control over?
Right. And also, again, I'm going to go back to it. Sorry. I mean, I think they've been around since probably we have been around, even though I'm relating to them on a human level, because that's what I am right here. They have studied us as humans for how many years, had several things they've done, probably to make us better. I'm not saying it's for a bad thing. But stop scaring people. You've got to have come up with something better than that over this course of time. Maybe I'm being too hard on them, but
I don't think so, Dana. But I know. But like the guy, everybody's not afraid like that. You see what I'm saying? And so, and I'm not saying that you don't. Like the guy we were talking about. He did not. Now he was a kid, but he did not seem to have that innate thing. So I hear what you're saying. If you got all this technology and this advancement, then if you're going to visit Dana Stricker, then you need to come correct, because this is what I need. Now, Michael or Mary, they may need something. I hear that, but I don't know if they really care.
Exactly.
And I'm not
There's
about that.
But,
But what we're having here, this discussion, is the discussion that's been going on
forever.
But like I'm thinking of John Mack and Bud. Now they both softened their positions, but Bud was saying what you were saying. You're thinking all this is love and light, but you're being manipulated. What I mean? And John Mack was saying, no, it wasn't that black and white. So this is still going on, in the community, obviously. I kind of dig it that you have that skepticism, because so many of us think that it's all peace and love and let's sing Imagine and Kumbaya. Right? And there's some, and if you go back to these texts, they're saying that some of these, well, even the Bible, some of these beings were they cared about, they helped us. Some of them, like Yahweh, were psychopaths, and some of them were just neutral. But a lot of times we just go, it's one or the other, and there's a lot of in between. Our government is pretty much saying that in so many ways. Yeah. So I hear you.
For being what I do for a living, you wouldn't think I'd be as skeptical as I am with it, but
I don't think so.
That's how I'm processing it.
But we need to be reminded of that, because it's easy to give your power away if you think people are more advanced.
Yeah.
Everybody who has a spaceship or can do these things, that doesn't mean that maybe they have more morals than you. But we're taught like that. We'll worship you. I mean, our ancestors did, until they got to find out, well, wait a minute, some of these people are not as ethical or moral or what have you. And so I think that we always need to be reminded of what you're saying.
And Dana, I think when you say skeptical, I think you're not saying you're skeptical of what we're talking about.
Oh God, I believe in them.
So I think what you should say is like, you're not skeptical, you're cautious about them. You don't trust them as much. I don't. Yeah.
And that might change if I have a regression and I figure out why that might be. Yeah. If I've even been in that position, I don't know if I
think you have, but I think you have. But
but I'm thinking my aversion to particularly the mantis. That's like an aversion I have. That's not just like I don't like them; they scare me. That's like it's like a gut reaction to that.
Yeah.
And that's not for something I've never.
It's something to look at.
Yeah,
it's something to look at.
Like that.
Yeah. Yep. Like I have just real quick, because I know we got to go to the next one. My ex has a nephew, and he doesn't think he's an experiencer. He does, but you cannot have a picture of an owl even in your house. He will not enter it.
Whitley Schreiber.
Now he says, he's a little country boy in North Georgia, but he freaks if he sees an owl. Anyway, I know we got to move
Interesting.
on.
That's interesting. Okay.
All right. So for this very last one,
Mhm.
this was created especially for RJ, and now Michael too, since he's joined us tonight. But my final question was if ancient Egypt had connection at all to extraterrestrials. Now, do sacred Egyptian tombs provide answers about extraterrestrials?
Yes, but there's many, many other places that have not been found. But as the ascension goes on and the earth changes, things will be found and it will be brought up, not more us finding it. It will appear.
So the more the information will come out.
All the information is already there, in the physical as well as within you. If you want to have an easier shortcut to getting it, it's all part of universal knowledge, and it's all within you as an individual. You can get all of the knowledge within, or if you need the physical, which perhaps a lot does need the physical in order to, I guess, believe, it's all there. It's just supplied in different places. It's up to the individual to physically see if they want to see. Think of it like us. If we come there and land, do you think that everyone will see us? Do you think that everyone will physically see us if we landed? Not many will, but a lot will. A lot may see us depending on what they're vibrating to. Others that don't believe or that don't want to necessarily have that as a reality, they're vibrating in a frequency that will not allow them to physically see. So think of it in a portal sense. Some portals you can physically see depending on the frequency and vibration that you are, while other people may not be able to see because their frequency is either higher or lower or in a different form where they are seeing other than what you are seeing. That is the reason why we are trying to work together to help the ascension, because once everyone ascends to a frequency, everyone can connect and it all becomes universal law. We all just know. We'll see the portals that we want to see. We'll get the knowledge that we want to have. It's all there. It's just up to us as an individual to see it. Think of it almost like a Sasquatch. They can physically allow you to see, or if they choose not to, they can walk right among you and you'll never know unless they want you to. It's kind of the same ability that we have, and soon the same ability that everyone will have once the ascension is done.
I can't wait. I want a cloak. Okay, this is for the guys, so I'll be quiet.
No, that's everybody talk. It's just interesting. Yeah. So what he's saying is, if you're on the same vibration, the same frequency as someone else, you connect with them on a very easy level, and you're able to understand what they're saying, and they understand what you're saying. He's saying that if you're at a level where you're if you reach this level of frequency, that you're able to see different light spectrums. You're able to see more things that are there that some people may be vibrating at a lower vibration or something. I don't want to say low, but just their vibration isn't up there on the high frequency. They don't see it. That's what he's saying. I think.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. First of all, I'm cautious with that because it's easy to get into a spiritual egotism where I can see it, but you can't. That's number one.
Yeah, I don't want to say that.
No, I'm not. You're not saying that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Number two is, certain scholars talk about when European ships came to the Americas. Some Native Americans who were deeply spiritual people, which kind of would conflict with what we're just saying. They couldn't see the ships, even though some of them would say, "You see that they didn't because they had never seen the ship before."
Yeah, it wasn't in
so it wasn't so much that they were on a lower vibration.
Right.
They just had nothing that they could compare it to.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that in there, not to muddy the waters, but the other thing is, why do experiencers get upset? Not all, obviously, when other people say, "I didn't see anything," or "I don't know what you're talking about." Why can't we just say, "Well, they're not on the same frequency," as opposed to trying to make people believe? Right. This is a layered kind of thing. And maybe I didn't see that ship, but maybe I saw a ship another time. I just think it's a little more complex than maybe what that example.
Yeah, and I think I was just commenting what like he was saying. That's what I kind of got what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like you said, the ships weren't in their reality, so they have no idea what they're looking at.
That's what some scholars and people are talking about, but they found out soon enough that they were real.
Right.
I'm not, I'm just saying that it's easy to go into, I'm special. I see these things, man. I don't know why you don't see them. That kind of thing.
That happens too. Trust me.
Oh, it happens all the time. In religion and all that. Yeah.
Spiritual egotism, is that what you call that?
Yeah.
I'm totally using that.
Yeah. I didn't make it up, but that's where it is, where I'm subtly saying, I see it on Facebook sometimes when I see people, they'll put a meme, I'm this, that, and the other, or they'll put a meme where me trying to raise someone else's consciousness. And what they're trying to say is, well, whatever they're trying to say, but it comes off as, I get it and you don't. Yeah. And nobody's vibration rises when you're constantly reminding people in your mind of where they aren't.
Yep.
People don't rise to low expectations, you know what I mean?
Good point. Good
point.
Yeah. Good point. And I hope that my friend Ray is listening to this episode because, and I'm not going to use last names or anything, but this is a person who had an experience just a while back, saw something that nobody else saw. I mean, they see the same thing, but it's not the same thing to them. And after talking for a while, I realized I needed to let him know if that's for you. It's all about what you feel, what you're getting from that. So he's seeing it on a whole different level. Even, it's not that he's at a different level than other people, but it was intended for him. So he's seeing something other people aren't seeing because it was his connection.
Yeah. Well, what's that old saying? We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are.
Exactly.
Reality is in the eyes of the beholder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like his mission. It was interesting. Find out his mission. I was kind of like, I just felt like I was an intruder because that's his mission, and if he wants to share that, I'm over it, but I felt a little icky. Like that's his mission. Why, he needs to know that. But it's always more questions than answers. And that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
We're opening
Well,
minds.
That's all we have for tonight's show.
Great show.
So
Yeah.
big thank you, Michael, and to the